I never thought I'd be the kind of person to keep a secret that could destroy everything. But here I am, 2 years later, still carrying the weight of what happened at Rebecca's funeral. Rebecca was my best friend since we were 7 years old. We did everything together. First day of school, first heartbreak, college roommates, maid of honor at each other's weddings. She was the sister I never had, the person who knew every version of me, and I knew every version of her. When she got sick, I was there through every chemo session, every hospital visit, every moment of hope, and every crushing disappointment. And when she died at 32, a part of me died with her. The funeral was on a gray October morning, the kind of day that feels like the sky itself is mourning. The church was packed with people whose lives Rebecca had touched. Her husband Marcus stood at the front, his face a mask of devastation. They'd been married for 6 years, and their love story was the kind that made you believe in soulmates. He was utterly destroyed, barely able to stand during the eulogy, his voice breaking as he talked about the future they'd never have. I gave a speech too, talked about our friendship, the adventures we'd had, the dreams we'd shared. I broke down twice, and Marcus was the one who met my eyes from the front row, nodding encouragement, tears streaming down his own face. That moment of connection felt sacred, like we were the two people who loved her most, united in our grief. After the service, there was a reception at Rebecca's parents' house. I'd been dreading it, knowing I'd have to navigate through countless conversations, accepting condolences, pretending I was holding it together when I was absolutely falling apart. I slipped away to Rebecca's childhood bedroom, needing a moment alone with my memories of her. I was standing by her window, looking at the photos on her dresser, when Marcus came in. He looked exhausted, hollowed out, like grief had physically carved pieces away from him. We didn't say anything at first. We just stood there, two people drowning in the same ocean of loss. Then he started talking, his voice barely above a whisper, about how empty their house felt, how he'd wake up reaching for her, how he didn't know how to exist in a world where she wasn't. I held his hand. It seemed like the natural thing to do, the human thing. We were both crying, both broken. And then something shifted. The air in the room changed. He looked at me with an intensity that made my breath catch, and before I could process what was happening, he pulled me close and kissed me. It wasn't a gentle, comforting kiss. It was desperate, hungry, filled with all the pain and loneliness and need that comes from losing everything. And God help me. I kissed him back. For maybe 10 seconds, maybe 20, I let myself get lost in it. Let myself forget where we were, what we were doing, who we were betraying. Then reality crashed back in like ice water. I pushed him away, stumbling backward, my hand over my mouth. Rebecca's photos were right there, watching us. Her childhood teddy bear sat on the bed behind us. We were in her house on the day of her funeral, and we just crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Marcus looked as horrified as I felt. He started apologizing, words tumbling over each other, saying he didn't know what came over him, that he was so sorry that it would never happen again. I couldn't speak. I just shook my head and left the room, left the house, drove home in a daze, my mind refusing to process what had just happened. For weeks, I convinced myself it was just grief, just two devastated people seeking comfort in the worst possible way. Marcus sent me a long text apologizing again, saying he was ashamed that his judgment had been destroyed by loss and that he hoped we could move past it because Rebecca would have wanted us to stay in each other's lives. I didn't respond. I couldn't face him, couldn't face what we'd done. But here's the thing that haunts me, the thing I've never admitted to anyone. It didn't feel wrong in the moment. For those few seconds, it felt like the only real thing in a world that had become unrecognizable. It felt like finding someone else who understood the specific shape of the hole Rebecca left behind. And that terrifies me more than anything. I avoided Marcus for months, declined invitations to gatherings where he'd be present, made excuses when Rebecca's other friends tried to bring us together. But guilt is a persistent companion. And eventually, I reached out. We met for coffee, awkward and careful with each other. He'd lost weight, looked like he wasn't sleeping. We talked around the incident at first, discussing Rebecca, sharing memories, trying to find our way back to some kind of normal. Eventually, he brought it up directly, told me he'd been in therapy, that his therapist said what happened was a trauma response, two people seeking life and connection in the face of death. He asked if we could forgive each other and ourselves, honor Rebecca by keeping the friendship she'd valued so much. I agreed, wanting desperately to believe we could pretend it never happened. But you can't unfeel something. You can't unknow a moment. Over the following year, Marcus and I rebuilt a friendship, but it was different, charged with something unspoken. Rebecca's other friends would comment on how good it was that we were supporting each other, how Rebecca would be happy we had each other. The irony was suffocating. Then, 6 months ago, Marcus told me he was seeing someone. A woman named Claire, kind and gentle, nothing like Rebecca. He seemed lighter when he talked about her, like he was finally allowing himself to live again. I was happy for him, genuinely, and also relieved. If he could move forward, maybe that kiss really had been just a moment of grief-stricken madness. But last month, Marcus showed up at my door late at night. Claire had ended things, saying she felt like she was competing with a ghost, that Marcus wasn't ready. He was devastated all over again. And I made the mistake of letting him in, of pouring wine, of letting the conversation drift into dangerous territory. He told me that being with Claire made him realize he'd been lying to himself, that the person he felt connected to was me, that maybe what happened at the funeral wasn't a mistake, but the truth trying to surface. I should have asked him to leave right then. Instead, I told him the truth I'd been hiding from myself. That I'd thought about that kiss more times than I could count, that some part of me had been waiting for him to say exactly what he just said. We sat with that confession between us, the weight of it enormous. But this time, we didn't act on it. This time, we both understood what was at stake. Rebecca was the best person either of us knew, and she loved us both completely. Betraying her memory by building something on the foundation of her loss would destroy the very thing that made our connection meaningful. So we made a choice. We decided that loving Rebecca meant honoring her more than we indulged ourselves. That the grief we shared was sacred but couldn't become something else, no matter how much easier it might make the loneliness. That's where I am now. Still carrying this secret, still navigating this strange space between grief and something else. I don't know if Marcus and I will remain friends, if the weight of everything unspoken will eventually crush what we're trying to preserve. What I do know is that love is more complicated than I ever imagined, that loss creates voids that beg to be filled, and that sometimes the hardest thing is choosing who you want to be when no one else would ever know the difference. Rebecca deserved better than what almost happened. She deserves better than what still lives in the space between Marcus and me. And maybe learning to live with that is how we finally honor her.